There is an expression in sales, and we've all heard it before: follow up until they buy or they die. Now, it's a little bit of a dark saying, right? We're talking about death here, but there's a beauty in this. There's a beauty because as sales professionals, our job is to continue to stay top of mind, to follow up until they buy or they die. I wanted to share a quick story, a real estate story with you guys, where one of our partners was a client. She had a listing, and the listing was it was coming up on 3 months, right? So it was going to hit that 90-day time on market in the MLS. And the owners of the property had decided to take the listing off, to wait until the New Year's, wait until there was sort of a little bit of a correction with some fresh eyes, and then relist. So that was the collective decision. That's what took place. The property was removed from the MLS to do a restart, right? So then the first came around, right? And well, actually, sorry, the first hadn't come around. The weeks had gone by with the intention of relisting it in the new year. Okay. And what happened was the owners of the property decided to work with someone else. Now, unfortunately, there was no binding contract, so there was not a listing agreement that prevented this from occurring. So it happened. The owners decided to work with another agent. And then sure enough, the listing came on. Now it's on the MLS right before the holiday, and it's going to be there for a while until the property either sells or does not sell. This agent lost their listing, okay? And I think the reason why they lost their listing was because of the follow-up problem. Not enough value, not enough top of mind, not enough branding, not enough social posts, not enough Dubb videos, not enough communication was occurring. And then as a result, the owner, of course, chose another listing agent. We don't like to see that, but we know how to prevent it. And the way to prevent it is by staying top of mind. So my friends, let's follow up until they buy or they die.
Absolutely. Ruben, it's a perfect sort of transition, because what we are talking about, right, in this group of trainings that I was just describing for you guys is exactly that. It's the ability to follow up, the responsibility of following up, but how do we do so in a way that doesn't get you blocked or unsubscribed or annoying the person that you're following up with, right? Because guys, I was giving the example here earlier, is every real estate CRM that I see that has workflows pre-built, right? Hey, I'm not going to name any names, but if you go into a CRM that's specialized for real estate and you look at the automations, right, the pre-built nurturing sequences, they're not very good, right? I'll be nice here. I'll be nice and say that they're not very good, because they have multiple steps that are just like a nudge or just following up. Guys, that time is over, right? We can't just follow up. Hey, just nudging you. How's it going? Right? That's annoying these days, right? Because there's a million tools doing it, because everybody has access to an automation tool that's off the shelf or that AI spit out in a few seconds. So the fact is that people are inundated with more messages than ever before. But you remember, go back 10 years or 5 years when automation wasn't so popular, and then people were manually sending, hey, just following up, just checking in. How's it going? And then now the automation's doing that. Hey, following up, just checking in, because that's the lazy, easy way to do it, right? But it's not the effective way. And in fact, that will not work out for you moving forward. Think about how annoying that is for you personally. As a real estate agent, you probably have somebody trying to sell you something at all times. How annoying is that when they're just like, hey, just following up, just checking in, you ready to buy? Even if it doesn't say those exact words, but what it's not doing is it's not providing you value, right? It's not saying, oh, wow, I just learned something really cool. Even if I'm not going to buy right this second, I just learned about something really useful that I can use at some point, right? That is the difference of what these types of automations, and what Ruben was describing, right? Follow up until they buy or don't, right? More often than not, if you're not following up with a quality of message, they're going to unsubscribe and block you far before they die and well before their next purchase or sell. And so that's what we need to avoid as well, guys, because like I said, those are far more likely outcomes than them passing away before. So let's not get to that point. And instead, we're focused on how to actually create content, whether this is for the top of funnel for like social media, our internal workflows, like our automations, our top of mind sequences. All of it points to the same direction. And that's what all the lessons guys that are in this recent group have to do with. In the past 3 sessions, we talked about first the shift to first party data, which is you can't just buy the list from the phone book anymore, right? It's basically just that. It's just like a phone book. That's how valuable is that to you? Not very, right? We need much more targeted data. We need a farm. We need specific people in mind, which was the second part of the training. The riches and the niches, right? The niche, whatever how you want to say it. That is what enables us to focus our messaging, our follow-up, our strategy, our entire business can now be focused on something. Ask a brand new agent, who do you want to work with? And it's usually anybody, everybody. Ask a seasoned agent that's very successful, that's been in it for a long time. Who do they want to work with? They'll tell you exactly. I work with veterans in the base on this city. They're going to tell you exactly who they work with. And, there's outliers, but there's where their business is focused. And again, there's always outliers, right? There's somebody who's just been randomly doing stuff and survived for however long, but top producers have a system, right? And they have a target. And what that helps you do is it helps you focus the rest of your business around that. So the 3 previous lessons, guys, were about that. It was the shift to first party data, meaning you are collecting the leads yourself. Instead of being beholden to Zillow or whatever, you can create your own ads and you can create your own organic and you can have your own lead generation methods. But that really requires you focusing on a niche. Everyone knows to say a farm, right? Well, your farm should tie in to your niche. We had a discussion last time. One of our clients, Mark, was saying, I want to focus on beachfront or waterfront properties. I was like, well, perfect. And that gives you your niche because in his locality, there's multiple waterfront locations, but it also gives you your farm and your niche in one fell swoop decision, right? Those decisions aren't easy to make. And they can transform your business, right? And transform what you do from a day-to-day perspective. So those were the first 3 parts. And the next part after this, guys, is I'm going to go really deep into how to effectively create good automation, right? If you go into any of these systems and look, again, not to be judgmental, but to also not like throw them under the bus, but they're not good. I can say that safely. If you have any third party objectively look at a workflow and say, is this a good workflow moving into 2026 with all the automation and AI? It would be, no, it's not. It's very generic and very like, hey, just checking in, following up. How's it going? Right. That's not providing value. So that's the next session. But before we do that, I have today's session, guys, which is about how to actually measure performance. What are the meaningful things we should be measuring? And what are the benchmarks we should be measuring them against? Because it's like if you ever are learning how to drive a car, right? Because that's what we're going to do in the next step is I'm going to teach you how to drive the vehicle, to build it, to drive it, whatever the analogy you want to do. That's the next piece. But in order to do that, you have to understand the dashboard, right? You have to know what the numbers on the shifting gear mean before you can drive the vehicle. And so that's what we're going to do today is look at just a few abilities or things to measure performance and what those benchmarks are. So first, guys, we're going to start at the top of the funnel because those are some of the most important metrics and the ones we need to measure first, because the whole strategy that we're teaching here is for you to be able to feed yourself, right? To not be a slave to Zillow forever, to not be a slave to some digital marketing advertising agency that runs your ads and does all of your lead gen for you. That's great. If you're having a very successful partnership, I'm not saying get rid of that, but I'm saying if you teach yourself this ability to generate your own business, that is longevity, right? That's a guaranteed spot at the table for the foreseeable future. And so that's really what I want for you guys. And it starts with understanding the top of your funnel. Do you know who those people are that you're trying to attract? Is it veterans? Is it seniors? Is it snowbirds, right? Whatever this segment is, how are we attracting them? Are you using ads? Are you doing organic posts to social media, to YouTube, Instagram? We talked about some strategies about this, guys, in the previous ones. Making data first of all, capturing the first party data, right? You own it. You're generating content. They're your leads. You're not just buying them from somebody. And who knows where they are their interest in. You're selecting your niche. So that helps you create the content that's going to attract those ideal buyers, right? If you're like, hey, I'm the waterfront expert, that's your niche, and you're going to attract people that want to move into and are interested in waterfront. So you attract your people that you want to work with because that's the area you focused on. And then the other piece we just talked about was how to actually create some resources for the top of your funnel. This means videos. This means guides, like handouts, PDFs, ebooks. I showed you guys some resources where you can do all that stuff so quickly now with the use of AI. You can make an ebook in like 5 minutes. You can make a flyer or a handout. All these things now, what used to be hours and potentially hundreds of dollars with a designer or something, are now minutes away. And these trainings are all available for you guys, and they're very short too. They're like 30 minutes or something, so they're very digestible and usable for your guys' business today. So regardless of what your top of funnel resource is, there's going to be a ability and a importance in measuring that. And so that's what I want to start with, guys, is if you are looking at the top of your funnel, which is the first step, right? You guys need to have control of that. Where are the leads and referrals and source? Where are they coming in from? Because if you're just like waiting for the phone to ring, it's probably never going to, right? Let's face it. You got to do something to make this happen. And then you have to be able to measure that. It's not random, right? There's things you can do to build predictable pipeline and leads coming in. So here's what some of these things look like. By the way, guys, this presentation, gamma.app, right? That's one of the things I always talk about. It's one of these AI tools that enables you to create awesome ebooks and presentations and things in just seconds, right? You type something in, it's so easy now. So anyways, this is what we're talking about, is the top of the funnel where we're going to be attracting people to our business. Instead of buying lists and being beholden to third party, we're going to own first party data. I talked about the differences there. So now we're saying, here's how to measure these things, right? In the top of the funnel, the stages that are really going to matter are dependent upon what you're using for your lead acquisition. If you are using cold email, right? Open rates, click rates are the most important metrics in that cold email world, right? Of course, response rate, definitely. But first, you got to get the open rate right. First, you got to get the click rate right. Because if people are not clicking on your content, they're not getting your emails, right? We've got to work backwards based on what our top of funnel is. Some people are, you're like, I would never send cold emails for real estate lead gen, right? Not many people do. Usually people have like the farm or ads, or again, we're beholden to a third party person like an agency or Zillow or something like that. The point is, though, this isn't that, right? We're not saying we're not using the Zillow right now. We're saying if you're going to build your own Zillow, right? Your own top of funnel awareness. This means posting on social media. I described in a previous training, YouTube is my best recommendation for the market today, right? TikTok will probably get you the most views, but there's not qualified buyers if you're in the United States or in some areas like North America in general. Buyers are now first time buyers are way older now. Average buyers and sellers much older, 5, 10 plus years of what they were a few years ago. So just for example, YouTube, excellent investment for the top of funnel awareness. Meta as well, not so much TikTok. It'd be on the bottom of my list of current recommendations, right? A year ago, 2 years ago, different story. Anyway, you are creating content for the top of the funnel. And this is where you need to make sure you understand how to measure it. If it's an email, again, that's open rates and click rates. If it's on YouTube, we're looking at things like your watch rates, subscription, like is it benefiting positively? Are you trending upwards? So again, just there's going to be a few different metrics depending upon what your channel is. But with Zillow, for example, when third-party data, right? Their data, their stuff, you're paying $100 to $500 a lead. What is the metric that you're looking there? Did I convert this lead, and now do I have to give them part of my commission when they sell? It's a completely different world, right? Here, it's our vehicle, our stuff, so we need to know how to measure it. A lot of people use social media. That means, are the videos being viewed? What's the watch rate? Meaning, are people watching the engagement, right? Are they staying watching? Do they scroll past very quickly? If it's email, it's open rates. So my point is I can't speak on every single top of funnel resource and the exact metrics. So I'm going to go into a few more details, but it's more about for your guys' awareness of whatever your lead acquisition, your top of funnel strategy is. You need to be aware of what those benchmarks and what the things you need to be aware of are. If it's email, it's opens and click-throughs. If it's posting to social, it's engagement, watch time, click rates, right? Because if you have some link, you should certainly, for social media, I'll talk about the rest of the funnel here because that's triggering the automation and stuff. But point being, if you're posting on YouTube or Instagram, or you're doing paid advertisements, all those have completely different metrics that you need to be aware of. And if you're not aware of those things, it's kind of like you're just like guessing, right? I don't know what my open rates are. I don't know what my cost per click is. I don't, if you don't know those things, then those are things you need to know. That's all I can say, guys. Don't fall asleep at the wheel. Don't be passive in your business. Pay attention very closely so you can take control and, have a spot at the table, right? Moving forward. So some benchmarks. It's also be really important that you're aware of what your metrics should be, right? Email opens. This is a perfect thing to talk about as sort of an inside secret, guys. A lot of people will say, oh, I have great open rates. I have 30% open rates, 40% open rates. That metric has changed over years, right? Years ago, 30% opens meant you probably had 30% actual opens. Nowadays, everyone has an Apple Watch or a CRM that's previewing their email, or a smartphone that's doing the same thing. And so probably half of those opens are not actual people opening them, right? It's the email open pixel being fired, saying that it was opened. So email opens are one of those metrics. Do you actually know what you're looking at, right? Are you measuring opens just because you're like, I sent a newsletter, the open rate was great, but what was the click rate? Because if you're saying, oh, 40% opens, but no clicks, then that's worthless, right? That means nobody clicked on, nobody paid attention to it. So I want you to be aware of vanity metrics versus the metrics that are actually important. And you guys have the ability to come speak to us. Our AI tools are trained on this, so you can chat with the bot or chat with our team, come to the live trainings. If you have a specific question on, hey, what about this? What about this campaign, this automated sequence that I ran? How do I measure the performance here? You guys also have us as a resource to help you understand metrics or benchmarks of where you should be, how the performance of something is. So that's also what I'm doing for you. Be aware of what your top of funnel is. Be aware of what the measurements, the metrics you should be paying attention to, not vanity metrics, but the actual important metrics. And then also be aware of there's plenty of resources here to help you dissect and analyze or translate what these mean for your business. But anyway, that's it, guys. Be aware of the metrics, know what they are, know how to measure them, and be paying attention to them, right? Don't turn a blind eye. Don't do the ostrich thing, put your head in the sand and be like, well, I just hope it's really good. So don't do that. Make sure that you're measuring them. And again, each channel is going to have a very independent metric, an independent sort of health indicator. How is this doing? Paid ads is extremely common for real estate. And most times paid ads are beyond the skill or bandwidth of an average agent, right? Like I'm focused on showing buyers and sellers and selling homes and stuff. I don't have time to run an ads account. Others are like, no, I spend all my time generating seller leads and I sell the home, which takes way less time. I'm not sitting there doing buyer tours. Everyone takes a different model and it's based on their skill level. And then you can develop the skills that you want to run the type of business that you want, right? You want to work with more sellers, figure out how to attract more sellers. Is that a cold outreach for FSBOs and expireds? Or is it advertisement campaigns or some combination of those things? But again, you didn't know that until you did step one, choosing your niche, choosing where you want to focus your business. And that helps everything else that we're talking about right now. Your top of funnel strategy, what you're actually saying in the videos, emails, posts that you're creating, because those are the people that you want to attract. You see how this is all sort of a reverse funnel, in fact, right? We started with the foundation of deciding who you want to speak to, who you want to attract, who you want to work with. And then every other piece of content and message that you create is compounded upon that. And it's made it more effective through that targeting, right? How do you get an effective click-through rate? By speaking to somebody specifically, by grabbing their attention with a hook that's relevant to them, right? Are you looking to sell your home in Sacramento? You're like, wait, I'm in Sacramento. I want to sell my home. Now you just hook them, right? Are you looking, or are you a senior? Are you a veteran on the Air Force Base looking to da-da-da? And they're like, I'm a veteran on the Air Force Base looking. So that's what I'm talking about. And it doesn't have to be so specific, but that's how you make every single thing that you're doing much more effective. And it all compounds, but it's based on a tough choice in the beginning, right? Where do you need to focus your business? And we've done the whole training on that. There's a whole discussion around that as well, how to pick that niche. So there's a whole slideshow here, guys, talking about the differences, right? If you're on Meta and Instagram, it's talking about your, like if you're doing paid ads, right? Your click-through rate. Are you doing organic? Are you doing video ads, or are they just text-based posts? So each one of these strategies for top of funnel has its own unique indicator. That's more of what I'm trying to show you guys today. And again, that I can help you with figuring these things out. You can come to me, my team. Chat is available also, right? Our AI is trained specifically for our Dubb stuff in relation to this. But this is just for your guys' awareness. It'd be way too time consuming to cover every single metric and every single top of funnel strategy. So this is more of, these are the types of things you guys need to be aware of. So when you think about what is my top of funnel, what is my lead acquisition strategy? Am I measuring it? Do I know what the key indicators are? Do I know what the actual values of those things are? Do I know any of those things yet? And if I do, yes, then great, I'm in the right place. And if you don't, then great, now you know what to do next. You know where to start measuring to prepare for your business to grow. I want to get straight to the action steps here, guys. So this is the weekly process. Once you've analyzed this funnel, or once you've done it once, right? Like, hey, I know what my top of funnel is. I know what my automation sequence is, right? And this is down the road, guys. If you're watching this training in real time and you haven't yet built effective automations, you haven't yet built a complete funnel that's tailored toward your ICP, right? All these stuff is new for you, or it's you're like, I'm halfway there. This action plan, guys, is really meant for once you've completed this stuff, right? When you have a strategy, a complete strategy, you're running ads, or you're posting to social media and you're recycling the content, or you're door knocking or farming, whatever that is, right? Pick your strategy, build the rest of the funnel, the automation, the follow-up, physical, digital, right? Once the thing is complete, then you can begin measuring the individual components of it. Once you've measured the entire funnel once, right, then it's not so much work. You can quickly, like 15 minutes at a time, right, and say, what is my cost per acquisition on my meta advertising today? That would only take 15 minutes once you've set all this up, right? Once you understand your ad platform and you have the login saved and you know where to go to click and you know how to look at the cost per acquisition, right? But all that took time to create the ad, to the portal, to run the ads, to look at the data, right? So initially, this is a lot more work to create your funnel from scratch. Or if you guys are more advanced in your business, you already have a funnel. Now you know how to analyze it into these individual components. The top of your funnel, how's it performing? The middle of your funnel, how are you taking those leads to appointments to clients? How is that stage performing? What's the number of leads in versus appointments or clients out? What's the conversion rate there? What's the lead to appointment ratio, right? And then finally, the bottom of the funnel, how many qualified conversations and leads have you had that result in a sale? Where have your closed losts end up? How many leads are you losing and why? Are you keeping track of those measurements? More often than not, it's what Ruben started this training with, guys. You forgot to stay top of mind, or you didn't stay top of mind, or you said something that they didn't like to hear in that moment and forgot to cover your bases quickly after, and then they went searching for the answer they wanted to hear, right? It's one of those things why we probably lost the deal. But how do we just stay on top of them with some automation and say, hey, I know something, but here's some information. Then now all of a sudden we're top of mind. So all this to be said, guys, this is a resource for you to come back to. Once a week, we'll be updating these trainings. You have the whole training on the showcase itself. And then you guys have a resource to come discuss, submit that open mic, and we come review your individual content. We'll say, hey, you look, Darius, I love the training. I don't know how to analyze my funnel. Where do I begin? Where do I start? Here's my ads account. Let's take a look. Literally, we can peel back some layers and go deep into some stuff like that. So this resource is not only for you guys to come attend and get me speaking to you about the training we've compiled and curated, it's also real-time feedback. So that's it for you guys. We'll see you in the next video.